Good evening. If there was ever going to be anything different, it is today. You can see, it's a different setup, that we have. I was a little bit late, and I must apologize for having had, you waiting, and we just going to get started. And this is, I think, uh, almost the realistic, situation. I shoot in, and what you might see, most of the time, is a little bit polished. So with this one being different, just expect it to be, to be the most real one. And I'm just behind, this green screen, and before we just start. Um, I wonder whether you've ever had that moment when you are staring at a blank screen and the cursor blinks on and off like a heartbeat, counting the seconds while the words refuse to come. You know what you want to say, you feel it in your heart, but when you try to write it down, it just doesn't sound right. That was 3 years ago. I was sitting in my office trying to share a vision I hadn't yet named, what would become the Aura Empower community. I wanted to help people lead from their true energy, build without burnout, win without losing themselves. But the words I wrote felt hollow. The song looked like someone selling something instead of selling for something. You know what happened when I realized this disconnect between what I was feeling and what I was writing? It changed everything for me. I suddenly understood something is crucial. If the message doesn't carry your energy, it will not move anyone. If you've ever felt that gap between what is in your soul and what ends up on the screen, this session is for you. Today, we are bridging that gap with a system that blends the power of your authentic self with the right structure, creating what has become a cornerstone of our Aura Empower movement. Energy aligned communication. See, last Saturday, if you were with me, some of you, we explored connections to clients lead follow-up systems. You remember the connection multiplier framework? And if you can't remember it, I'm sure we got a recording, on your platform. We talked about keeping relationships warm, using reminders, and also, some scoring tools we use there and aligned, automation. But you told me something important in that chat. Systems are only half of the work, because if follow-up is the system, the message is the soul. Like Laura said in our circle, I was doing all the right things, but my message felt empty. A turning point, realizing that energy alignment comes well before strategy. She stopped trying to sound impressive and started speaking her truth. Today, we are building on that. I'll show you how to write messages that not only connect, but inspire. We'll use modern tools to help us sound like ourselves, not less. Thus, energy aligned authenticity. This is week 2 of the 12-week journey, and it builds perfectly on the last week's foundation, because great follow-up systems need powerful messages to truly convert connections into clients. I'll share, some objectives for this lesson, this masterclass. Here we are covering the first thing. I'll share the message matrix with you. It's a 4-part energy map that you can, that helps you message the messages that truly resonate. Let me share that, for a moment. Let me find my screen here and try and share it with you guys. Hopefully with the setup I have here, I'll be able to share it. I can't see my screen properly, but bear with me. Yeah, I think I've just found it. I think I've just found it. I'm having an issue with my glasses as I look at my screen here. Yes, let's see. Some issue. Right. So I just got it. I promised, man, this will be, a different, thing altogether. And so I found it, and that is the 4 quadrants of the energy, matrix. And you can see, man, there is a first quadrant spark, which we're going to be talking about, in messaging. And then second one, is substance and soul and the signal. Okay. This is, how we write messages, that truly resonate. And think of it like perhaps like the authentic connection. And second, we'll explore how to integrate modern writing tools in a way that supports and not replicates the unique voice. And third, of the, what we're going to be talking about, I'll show you real examples of actual and before, of before and after. That didn't just go open, but move people to respond and take action. And fourth, what we'll share, in this lesson, we will talk about energy aligned automation. Because let's be honest, you need to know when a message deserves your personal touch and when you thoughtfully can automate with heart. And fifth, what we're going to be sharing, in this lesson is, which might be the most important, in fact, is finding and amplifying your authentic voice. That's the most important, because in today's noisy world, sounding like you is your true advantage. Now, let me tell you how these frameworks came into life. 2 years ago, I worked with Sarah, a leadership coach, with a powerful story. But her messages, they didn't land. We studied the ones that did, and what we found out was gold. It wasn't clever hooks or polished writing. It was energy. The 4 kinds of energy working together like a compass, like I've just shown you on that screen, each point guiding the message in a critical direction. I call it the message matrix, and it's how we move people naturally. The matrix is a powerful framework I've developed that is that I'll explain in a moment. This matrix consists of 4 distinct energies. The spark is what ignites curiosity. The substance is that which delivers transformative insight, and the soul, it creates emotional connection, and the signal is what guides natural action. When these four energies work together, they create messages that don't just get read, they get responded to. Now, rather than walking through each one of them separately, let me show you the dramatic difference by just applying the spark energy that can make your messages seem, wonderful. Let me just break it down, these energies. The first one is the spark, okay? And this is about you opening, and it doesn't have to be witty, okay? The spark. So it has to be real. Like, for instance, here, I will show you, on this screen, the next, a spark message. Just before, okay? I hope, that shows, sorry, I should be sharing this actually. Yes, I think I am. And, with that spark, message where here, it's a generic message. I wanted to share some insights about scaling your business with an AI integration. That is what, the generic, message, would look like. And if I can go whilst we're still sharing the screen, I just forgot I was actually sharing the screen with you. And so there you can see that would be a generic, spark message. I wanted to share some insights about scaling your business with an AI integration. And what the spark message would look like here is that, I hope, you can still, see, on there, that's the spark message. Remember that moment when you realized your team was spending more time in systems than on clients. That's exactly what we need to talk about. You can see that's more, it's not generic at all. That would be a spark message. Let me just, stop sharing my screen, and let's get back, to our chat. I hopefully now, I am, like I just said, this one is a different ball altogether. So that message is what I just showed you, about spark. It's just like, remember the moment you realize your team spent more time in meetings than with clients. That's a spark. It makes people say, that's me. The mistake most people make is thinking a spark has to be clever or gimmicky. It doesn't. The most powerful sparks are often simple statements that resonate because they reflect they actually are simple truths that resonate because they reflect exactly what someone is experiencing, rather than that message you just saw on my screen there. Now let me show you an example from my own business. Here is a message I sent last week that fell completely flat. It opened with, I wanted to share some insights about scaling your business with AI integration, like I just shown you there. And that was generic. And then, you can see, it's forgettable. You can forget that, and it sounds like everyone else, who gets onto Chat GPT or Cloud, and they write, they put a prompt as simple as that. So your prompt has to be a bit clever. Now, the revised version using the Spark message, you found it correctly. It's remember that moment when you realized your team was spending more time on systems than on clients. That's exactly what we need to talk about. You see the difference? The second speaks to an actual moment of realization most of my clients have experienced. Now, let me share a story about Louis and Elena from our community. For nearly 15 years, they have been building their business with many ups and downs. When they first embraced an energy-first approach to their communication, they discovered a profound truth. Their technically polished messages lacked that authentic spark we just talked about that comes from their unique Filipino Bayanian spirit, which is this beautiful cultural concept of community unit and working together. See, in the Philippines, it traditionally meant neighbors literally coming together to carry an entire house on bamboo poles to help a family relocate. See, dozens of people lifting as one, turning hard work into joyful celebration. So for Louis and Elena, this spirit of communal support and genuine connection was their true strength. See, their breakthrough came when they stopped seeing external solutions and instead reconnected with their cultural storytelling approach. While others around them debated whether to use new communication technologies, Louis and Elena were pioneering something deeper, teaching these tools to amplify their authentic cultural voice and community-focused energy rather than replacing it. Their response rates increased by 52% in just 1 month, not because they found a better technique, but because they aligned their message with their true energetic signature first. Communication experts today, like including Jeb Blount, I don't know whether you've heard about him, and Anthony Iannarino, in their book, The AI Energy, they confirm that the Navarros, who are Elena, discovered through experience generic messages can be spotted a mile away because they lack genuine energy alignment. This is what energy leadership is about. Aligning your approach with your authentic energy signature. Now, once you understand this energy, you can use any writing tool to generate multiple spark openings based on your unique experiences. I'll show you the exact approach, approach in a moment. But the key is approaching the emotional resonance points. See, the second, of this matrix, we talked about substance. See, you don't just dump facts or offer one shift, something they call all day, like, I don't need more messages. You need better moments. See, that is substance. It's the belief shifting insight that makes your message worth consuming. See, the critical mistake most of us, or most people make is that they either overwhelmed with too much information, or they are so vague that nothing sticks. See, substance energy is about delivering one clear, transformative insight that shifts how someone sees their situation, how someone sees, like, in this sense, like, let me share, Ron's story from our community. See, Ron came from a corporate background. I think, most of us, most of you might be coming from a corporate background, and he wanted to create a more meaningful impact. His messages initially showcased his extensive expertise from years in executive roles and digital marketing. His emails were packed with industry data, trends, and multiple value propositions. Despite his knowledge, his conversion rates were disappointing. See, Ron's journey illustrated what communication experts have long understood, and what Jeb Blount, I've just talked to you about, who articulated, in the AI Age, which is the book I just, showed you. He says, when we overwhelm prospects with transformation, we create cognitive overload, regardless of how technologically sophisticated our approach might be. See, rather than following conventional wisdom of more is better, Ron took the courageous step of stripping away the excess, while others in his field continued to bombard prospects with data points and credentials. Ron focused on energy alignment first. When we analyzed Ron's most successful conversations and discovered something fascinating. See, the exchanges that led to a deeper connection always featured one pivotal moment where he shared a single insight about purpose and legacy building, something that made his prospects say, I never thought about it that way. So we built this messaging strategy around his discovery, using his authentic voice to help identify and refine that one powerful insight about purposeful leadership for each prospect segment. And Ron put it, I stopped trying to impress everyone or impress people with everything I knew, and I started focusing on the one thing they needed to hear. And the result, his response rates increased by 71% in just 1 month. Rather than another example from, here's another example from this is Jess, who used to write emails, 5 different tips and strategies. We revisited to focus on one counterintuitive insight that aligned with her energy. And most people don't fail because of poor strategies, but because their approach doesn't align with their natural strength and values. That single insight generated more responses than her previous tip-heavy emails combined. This is energy leadership in action. Using your authentic wisdom and the foundation, and letting tools help you refine and amplify it. See, with modern writing assistants like ChatGPT, Cloud, or Gemini, or even Microsoft Copilot, you can expand this insight by creating variations that frame the same core truth from different angles, helping you test which resonates most with your audiences. The key is using tools to amplify your wisdom, not replace it. Now we'll go deeper into the quadrant of the soul, which is the third of the energies I've just shown you previously. This is why you stop teaching and start connecting. It's a story or a struggle or a truth. See, the soul energy is where true connection happens. This is the emphatic bridge that shows you truly understand not just the practical problem, but the emotional reality of your ideal client. I learned the importance of this energy the hard way. See, 2 years ago, I created what I thought was a perfect messaging sequence. Great hooks, solid insights, clear calls to action, but the response rate was dismal. When I finally got feedback from someone who didn't respond, they said, it was well written, but it felt like it could have been sent to anyone. Does that resonate, guys? The ladies, that hit me hard. I was missing the soul energy. Without vulnerability, there is no trust. Now, let me tell you about Laura from our community. Laura's path through her divorce and custody challenges revealed what many in our community have discovered, that no communication techniques can bridge the gap created by energetic misalignment. So, despite moments of profound doubt and fears, Laura took the decisive step that defines true energy leaders. She confronted her negative self-talk during a transformative retreat and underwent a fundamental frequency shift. See, instead of outsourcing her voice to any tool or template, Laura first recorded herself speaking authentically about her journey, how she overcame isolation, built confidence, and found her authentic voice. See, these raw, heartfelt reflections became the energetic foundation for every message she sent. The transformation wasn't just impressive, it was inevitable. Her replies increased by 71% or 78%, with prospects specifically mentioning how her message felt different from the typical outreaches they had just been receiving. Laura told me, for the first time, I'm not sending messages. I'm truly connecting with people through them, through the messages. Isn't that wonderful? Well, this is what energy leadership is all about. Using tools as an amplifier for your authentic soul connection, not a replacement for it. Now, every message I send includes a moment of genuine empathy. Like perhaps, before this webinar, started, I knew I wasn't going to make it because of some technical difference while I tried to prepare some slides. You know, if you read that message now, it shows some empathy. See, something as simple as, I can remember how overwhelming it felt to have all these business growing tools at my fingertips, but still feeling stuck in the day-to-day operations. That's empathy. You know, that example. See, that feeling of knowing there is a better way, but not being able to access it is truly frustrating. See, that's part of, that messaging, which is empathetic, and shows, you care. See, that's not manipulative. It's a truthful connection. And here is where writing tools become powerful. They can help you find different ways to express that empathy authentically based on your own experiences and understanding. See, the key here is making sure your soul energy comes from you first, then using tools to help refine and expand it. Now, we're just going to be talking about energy number 4, which you saw, on the board, which I showed, and that will be the signal, the fourth energy. It's not a CTA or a call to action. It is a gentle nudge towards the next step. A signal flows, okay? It flows like a river's natural current, gently but inevitably guiding someone towards their next step. It's not that jarring by now billboard. It's an opening that appears naturally in front of them, asking, would exploring this together make sense as the next step for you? See, when your signal grows organically from the spark substance and so that came before, it doesn't feel like selling. It feels like an invitation into alignment. See, most calls to action fail because they feel disconnected from the rest of the message. Too abrupt, too demanding, or misaligned with the energy you have been trying to build in those stages. Let me share Trixie's story with you. See, Trixie is a 20-year-old veteran in our community who has faced significant challenges, including divorce, loss, and even having her home destroyed in Hurricane Ian. For those who still remember Hurricane Ian, if you're in the States. Despite her resilience in her personal life, Trixie struggled with her business messaging, particularly with calls to action, or the CTA we've just been talking about a few minutes ago. Her team was generating quality leads, but their conversion to initial conversions or conversations was stubbornly low at just 11%. See, communication experts today warn that calls to action often miss the crucial element of proper timing and energy alignment. Trixie was using impressive, well-crafted messages, but the signal energy was completely disconnected from the rest of her communication. Her CTAs or calls to action felt like they were grafted into the end of her messages. onto the, rather than energetically emerging from the conversation. We completely rethought her approach to signals. Instead of treating the city as a separate element to be optimized, we taught Trixie to see it as a natural conclusion of the story she was telling. See, here, for Trixie, the key was building her authentic community spirit, what she calls her aura empower family. And we created what I call bridge statements that connected the emotional elements of her message directly to the invitation to the next steps. Within a month, her conversions or her conversion rate jumped to 32% from 11%, which her team, was getting. See, this is energy leadership at work, aligning every element of your communication with your authentic energy signature. Now, here is another example from our community. I hope the examples I just showed you, they are so insightful. You might be railing to craft your own message. Here's another example from our community that transformed the response rates. The original CTA was built a consultation to learn more about our services. See, that is generic, disconnected, and forgettable. When we revisited this, this is what that CTA became. If I can, it was the feeling of being stretched. If that feeling of being stretched too thin is, while knowing there's the growth potential, resonant with you, I've opened up 3 conversation slots this week. Would having a pressure-free exploration of a different approach be valuable right now? See, with that, reconstituting that CTA, the conversations went up 340% with this more aligned signal. The key difference, the second signal feels like a natural extension of the conversation, not an abrupt pivot to selling. Now, let's talk about how these 4 energies work together in a complete message. Remember, the ones that I just showed you, the signal, starting with spark, substance, and finally signal. When you combine them effectively, you create a natural flow that guides your reader on a journey from curiosity to insight to connection to action. Imagine starting with a spark that resonates with their actual experience. Like, remember that moment when you realized your team was spending more time on systems than serving clients. That's a spark message. And then transitioning to the substance, the one powerful insight that shifts perspective or beliefs we've just talked about. This is how it will become. Most businesses automate the wrong things. They systemize client interactions whilst manually handling admin tasks when it should be the exact opposite. That's a substance message. So now we'll talk about the the signal message that follows, and it builds, which is what builds genuine connection, like we've just been discussing. it would then look like, I remember feeling that same frustration in my business 3 years ago, knowing there had to be a better way, but feeling trapped in day-to-day operations. You see, we talked about empathy. That's a bit more empathetic, as you can feel man, with that, the energy there. And finally, a signal is the last energy that feels like the natural next step. Here it is. If that resonates with you, I've opened 3 conversation slots this week to explore a different approach. Would you be available right now? This creates a message that feels like a genuine conversation rather than a marketing piece. Those 4 pieces I've just demonstrated to you there with their different energies. And this is where modern communication tools become your messaging partner. You can actually teach AI to understand these 4 energies and help you craft messages that maintain your authentic voice while saving your time. Would you like to save some time? Obviously, it requires a bit of planning, like we are doing, so that we can have better messaging that resonate with people or move them. The key is focusing on each energy separately rather than trying to create perfect messages all the time or all at once. See, when you build message energy by energy, it creates that natural flow that moves people to respond. Now, let me share my personal journey that really drives home why this approach matters so deeply or so much to me. See, 3 years ago, standing at the crossroads of business growth and personal transformation, I felt the dissonance that comes with, when your external success doesn't match your internal alignment. I had wonderful clients and a growing practice. But beneath that success lay a fundamental misalignment. I was operating from effort rather than energy, from hustle rather than flow. See, under those African skies of my childhood, the natural rhythm of sunrise and sunset had taught me that energy was everything. Yet, somehow, in the pursuit of success, I had forgotten this fundamental truth. My body knew it before my mind did. The exhaustion I felt wasn't just physical fatigue, but energetic depletion. I was spending hours each week rewriting the same follow-up messages, trying to make each one perfect. Sometimes I'd write the same message 7 different times. And still, each one felt a little off, like it didn't actually fully capture the energy I bring to my in-person interactions. I felt stuck, frankly, between my vision of building a movement centered on energy alignment and the practical reality of how much time authentic communication was taking. See, that is when I started exploring the message matrix framework I've just shared with you and began using the tools available to me to help capture my unique communication style. See, the first few attempts were admittedly terrible. The outputs kept making me sound like a corporate robot or an overly enthusiastic salesman or salesperson, sorry. Neither of which reflected the authentic connection that was the foundation of what would later become our Aura Empower values. But then, I had a breakthrough. Instead of just feeding these tools my professional content, I gave them examples of emails I had sent to friends, notes from my journal, and transcripts from my best client conversations about authentic success and energy alignment. I was essentially teaching the tools to recognize my energy signature. I hope you can do the same. This is what this is the point of me telling you this story, my feebles with communication. You see, suddenly the messages started to capture not just my words but my energy. That unique blend of inspiration, practicality, and genuine care that would eventually define the Aura Empower movement. Within a month, my open rates jumped to 62%, and my reply rates more than tripled. The success went beyond metrics. People started responding with comments like, "It feels like you are speaking directly to me." And, "How did you know exactly what I was struggling with?" See, those messages were coming through. See, that was the light bulb moment for me. This directly addresses the what more and more communication experts emphasize today. That the real breakthrough comes when we stop seeing our tools as a replacement for our voice and start seeing them as an amplifier of our authentic energy. See, my experience showed there is a different path. One where we become more consistently ourselves in our messaging. See, this became a foundational principle as I began shaping what would eventually become the Aura Empower movement and my role as the energy leadership mentor. See, modern communication, right? The modern communication approaches aren't about replacing our authentic communication. They are about amplifying it, about helping us express our true energy more consistently without the self-doubt and second guessing that often waters down our messages. or our message, if it is one, you're sending it at that particular time. Since then, I have reflected on this approach with hundreds of members in our Aura Empower community. See, the message matrix, which I just shared with you, today, combined with thoughtfully applied tools, has consistently produced not just better metrics, but deeper connections. And isn't that why we are building this movement? That's a question for you. To connect authentically while creating sustainable impact. Isn't that so? Well, I've seen two extremes in the business world today. Those embracing any technology written messages without question, and those rejecting all assistance entirely. But this black and white thinking misses the most powerful approach. The real edge comes from thoughtful integration, knowing when and how to incorporate assistance while maintaining your authentic voice as the foundation. Because, let's get it, here is what I believe with my whole heart. The businesses that will thrive in the future are not the ones with the most fancy tools or the fanciest tools or the biggest budgets. They are the ones that maintain authentic human connection while intelligently using resources to expand their reach and impact. They are the ones that use modern approaches to become more human. We are already human, of course, and we want to maintain, that front, that our humanness, and not less. And that's exactly what I want for you. This is the moment to establish your messaging approach before your competitors figure it out. So, here is my question for you. Are you ready to write messages that truly move people? Messages that convert not because they are manipulative, but because they are meaningfully aligned with both your voice and your client's needs. Well, if so, I have something special for you. Drop the word voice in the chat right now, and I'll send you the message matrix guide, a complete set of approaches I have refined over 2 years that will help you craft messages in each of the 4 energy areas we covered today, or we talked about today. These aren't generic templates. They are intelligent structures that help you understand and amplify your authentic voice across different messaging contexts. Are you ready? Would you like it? Then drop voice. And for those of you who take action and drop voice in the chat in the next 5 minutes, I'm also including my private voice calibration guide the exact process I use within the Aura Empower community to help each person understand and reflect their unique communication style. Time is ticking, 5 minutes. If you want, this bonus one, see, this is a critical tool for our movement, allowing you to maintain your unique energy signature even when scaling your communication. See, this isn't about tricks or hacks. It's about developing a messaging approach that feels genuine to send and compelling to receive. I know many of you are rightfully cautious about how technology-generated messaging might sound. I've seen the generic outreach that floods your inboxes daily. You've probably deleted dozens of obviously automated messages this week alone. Am I lying? There is a good reason for this skepticism. But there is a profound difference between defaulting to generic scripts and thoughtfully integrating tools to amplify your authentic voice. That's exactly what the message matrix frameworks helps you do. It ensures your message foundation is authentically yours while using assistance to help you express it more consistently and effectively. This is what we value at Aura Empower. Tools that enhance our humanity rather than replacing it. Because at the end of the day, that's what creates sustainable relationships and movement, momentum, messages that move people because they come from a place of authentic value, from a place that is of genuine connection. So go ahead, type voice in the chat right now, and let's take your communication to the next level. If you've got any questions, please, put them through, and I can see, these questions, you can answer them. Now, just before I go, thank you all for being here today. I can't wait to see how you implement these ideas and the impact they have on your relationships and our Aura Empower community. See you next Saturday as we dive deeper into the next topic, which is unlock the energy of engagement. AI for deeper conversations, not just clicks. That is the topic, I promise you, for next week. So it's the week 3 of the 12-week journey. And we are just getting started with transforming how we approach energy-aligned communication.